Definitely, this is my first time. I'm gonna record simply a video. I'm thinking about the special, so I'm gonna record a video about characters which impress which me the most in post Sabaody arc and Fishman Island. So I'm gonna take, I think I've collect 42 characters and I will express briefly about them, and obviously the best ones I will put into the video. Here you just having a broad understanding what is my thought process. If you are interested, of course. Yeah. Wonder if you guys gonna get any notification about that. I really don't know how this works. This is my first time, but I think I've set up everything correctly. Let's start. So, Sabaody, I think I'm gonna call it Sabaody, but I might, by mistake, I may call it Sabaody. It's just both versions for me getting into me. So, I have the ranks. I have S, A, B, C, ABC, which is low, which I love the character, great character, good character, mid, and annoying plus trash character buckets. And I have 42 starting. Obviously, I have all the straw hats, the most fishmans, but the most fishmans and some of the character from Sabaody arc. Let's go. First in the line we having Nami. So, is she relevant? How much I like, how much impact Nami actually did towards those one arc, I will say one session, to me personally. Hello Wes, how are you there? This is my first stream, so if anything is wrong, let me know in a comment. I will probably fix it for the next stream later on. Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna speak about Nami here, and yes, so what I'm thinking about Nami in Fishman Island Sabaody arc. In Sabaody, she didn't do much, to be honest, about of her appearance, show up. Obviously, there was a big reunion. There was a big moment when she actually met fake Straw Hats, and that was a pretty cool moment, which I actually liked it by a lot. Also, when we go to the Fishman Island, she was like more of a background character. If I want to judge her, possibly she left Zoro and Usopp with Brook, though, when Hordy invaded the castle. Hordy or Hordy, I think both are correct. And she basically left to see Jinbe, thinking that others will be alright. After those 2 time skips, after that Nami they actually lost to Kizaru, her fate is actually unchanged, which is pretty crazy, pretty cool to see her like that. And obviously her whole interaction with Hordy, with Jinbe, and how she treated, how Jinbe expressed everything, the way how she answered to Jinbe that it is not his fault. It is actually a big statement from her, because this wasn't an easy answer overall. So saying that, I'm actually pretty impressed by her, what she did on Fishman Island. So if I have to treat her what kind of... Hello Christian, how are you there? Wow, I'm getting actually... My goal was to get at least 2 people in the community on the live chat. I already succeed my goal for today. Wow. It's my first stream, by the way, so if anything is wrong, bad or good, let me know in the chat, in the chat, if I will do appreciate it. So how I will actually rank Nami for this one, I will actually put her as great, simply because her action, how she acted towards Jinbe, is just taking you so much, because you have so much hatred towards Arlong, and this is undeniable. And because she was able to overcome it and forgive Jinbe, not even mention that previously she forgave Hatchi, means she actually give to this character pretty big growth. So I really like that, and I'm gonna put Nami in these 2 arcs as great. Alright, next character is, I don't even know his name, I think it's Zio, but I'm not so sure. It is a Fishman under Hordy, And it was that kind of annoyed characters, and simply because he was changing everything upside down, what was actually happening just for his favor. I found it actually kind of mid, but the way I actually loved Brook there much more, how he actually acted instead of this Zero character, and there is not much more to add. Apart of that, he was actually attacking Fishman. He was actually bullying his own kind because they lost their faith in Hardy, and this is actually pretty bad treatment, and I dislike it by a lot. So it's still not annoying character. It was significant because he showed the hatred, so I cannot, take stuff from him. So I'm gonna give this character as mid because in my personally, he didn't contribute as much apart of this bit. That's about it. Yeah. Next character is gonna be Fake Zoro, and from the Luffy, from the Sabaody, and I'm gonna treat every single fake character except of Luffy as a one group, as a this character, and how I actually like those fake characters. To be honest, at the very beginning, I was actually surprised, and I was even envy them a little bit, simply because, they are there. They were able to fake out Luffy. They were able to do such a thing. When we going for some co-op or something like on the change into cosplay, that's the way, into somewhere, we have that opportunity. They had that opportunity inside the anime, which I also envy. Yes, they end up pretty poorly. I don't even think they are even alive, especially Sanji. Sanji is pure dead. Yeah, Sanji is pure dead. So what I would say, they definitely, at the beginning, that was really cool to see that show how famed Straw Hats actually are. Later on, it got slightly dropped because they simply got too much screen time and they didn't contribute as much later on in the story. But again, they weren't as annoying because at the beginning, they actually show us pretty cool stuff, how the normal, randoms, how the community lived inside the One Piece world, seeing Straw Hats, to show Straw Hats from such a perspective is actually pretty cool to see, because normally we probably will not even realize how terrifying from random characters Straw Hats might be. So this is actually a good, this actually gives us a good understanding. So I'm actually gonna put fake Straw Hats actually as good because they give us a pretty good understanding for that. Yeah. So let's see. The next in line is Koala. Koala from the Fisher Tiger flashback here. What I'm gonna say about her, she definitely went through a lot. She is a child and a slave, which already is terrible. And how she was able to overcome her own fear, her own actions, and even though she was going to her homeland, I do believe, to her relatives at the very least, she acted like a slave in the Fisher Tiger, to the point that there was so many bunch of dudes, fishmen in particular, and she was afraid, yes, but she still do technical duty, which wasn't actually her duty. So yeah, that brings actually hell of a courage. And then when she actually met her, she was actually attached to all of the fishmen. That was really, really touching moment. And despite all of the previous characters, I actually wasn't moved even to the slightest. Even with Nami actually being with Jinbe, I wasn't moved as much as the whole journey with Koala. So I must say I actually love that character because it's definitely above Nami. I might shift it for great at the I think love is the best because I love how this character were presented in those two arcs. I wonder if you guys are still there or you'd hang off already. I don't know how to check it. Yeah, I can hear. Doesn't matter. I hope you guys there if you guys are there. Yeah. Next character is Hyozo, and despite his appearance that he's supposed to be the greatest swordsman on the Fishman Island, #1 swordsman, he was still a frog for Zoro. And yeah, he was having a kind of behavior like he was a drunkster and he was a bully. We can say that because he likes to cut people. Yeah, that would be it. And definitely, and a part of drug addiction, we didn't get too much extra of Hyozo. At the very beginning, he actually met Luffy, he fought him for a little bit, he blocked, he poisoned him, but that was not as much. And how I'm gonna treat Hyozo, because he was basically treated like a really, really side character by Zoro. By any means. Well, if I have to compare it, I will have to compare it either to Zio or to the fake Luffy crew. And did actually this Fishman brings me anything extra apart of fightings, which wasn't even good because it was like 2 shots basically. And I don't think so. He's still better than Zio, I think, because he was a #1 Fishman, which gives me a little bit. But he wasn't even better for me than, not this way, than a fake Straw Hats. I actually prefer to see fake Straw Hats more than the Fishman captains. Actually, that's my take on it. So going to the fake Straw Hats Captain Monkey D. Luffy, Demalo Black, and actually to pull out such an idea, to be within because don't forget, he is a pirate, he is a wanted pirate, so to pull such an idea and to pull that kind of, dress code, anything for others to believe them that they are Straw Hats Luffy, he have to do the research to know about Straw Hats, not only what is written in the papers, probably a little bit more, like the characters which was in his crew, because apart of Robin, Luffy, and other characters who were on the wanted posters, there is not much, for example, about Sogeking, how they knew that he's king of the snipers, and that's the thing, and he as a captain who's supposed to gather all of the information, so he is actually quite remarkable guy despite what he did, despite he was one-shotted by Sentomaru. His idea took a lot to make, so I actually but still, there is not even close to what Nami did when she come back, because so I'm gonna put him as good, definitely better than his crew. He did a cool job, however, that's about it. I really also, the moment when he was one-shotted, with by Sentomaru, that was also an amazing moment, which gives me a lot of hype as well. So yeah, that was a great moment where Hyozo, for example, didn't give as much impact. Next character is Soul King Brook. And Soul King Brook is, this is gonna be a challenge here, because he was missing for 2 years, right? He got his fame as well. He got so much crowded when the partying, the whole concert, all of that. So I think he is one of the Straw Hats who achieved the most. Yes, Luffy got stronger. Yes, Luffy learned Haki. Yes, Zoro, Sanji, all of that. But none of them gain so much fame like Brook. And imagine if Luffy... Luffy doesn't have that much fame. Who is more famous actually character in One Piece world? Obviously, by end of the Fishman, is that Luffy or is that Soul King Brook? And I think Soul King Brook is actually more recognizable character than Luffy, especially when Luffy was proclaimed dead after the Word of the Best. So Brook did the most. So Brook was the only one Shohas who gained the most, got also the cool powers as well with this sword, with his, how this sword, I don't remember how his sword is actually called there, but yeah. But still, it is a great improvement, and also he can get out his sword out of the body, also a crazy feature added to his devil fruit. He is definitely accomplished more than Nami, despite Nami's toughness throughout the Fishman Island, and yeah, I'm actually loving this character. He impressed more, even on the side, off screen, more than on the screen. If he on the screen in Fishman Island, what he actually accomplished, not so much. He just fought the Zio and that's it. I think he was captured, but yeah, he actually been in the Papagu to save them. He to save themselves from the cage when Hody put them in. He actually accomplished quite a lot. I will actually put him as I actually love this character. Even more than Nami, because in my opinion he deserves more appreciation than Nami in this particular scene. Usopp, the man itself, did he got any better after those 2 years? He actually acting better. When he fought Daruma, he was actually saying that he is hard to lie when actually this thing is true. So he literally showing us that he improved greater. His mindset improved. He's still a coward. Don't make me wrong. He's still whenever facing foe which he cannot handle, he's running away probably next to Nami or even up front before Nami even. So yeah, he's then, but with the characters which he technically can allocate it as beatable, he actually can put a quite amount of fight when he put with Daruma. Not to mention when they were falling in when the Kraken was knocked out and all of them were falling, Usopp was the one who actually stopped the avalanche which was falling on their ship. So that is another accomplishment, right? So on the Fishman Island he doesn't do much apart of getting captured, but even then, when Hody actually attacked the palace, the Ryugu palace, he was there, he was trying to do something, so he definitely deserves quite an appreciation, and I actually like that a lot, and yeah, obviously incomparable to Sohas, he still gained the least out of those 3 which I already mentioned, so I'm gonna put him as a great character for sure, but not as great as Nami, because Nami has a more tougher situation. Let me see quickly here. Right. Next we're having Chopper in the line. So what Chopper accomplished in the Sabaody? In Sabaody, he actually was the one who picked up Luffy, thanks to his big bird friend, to meet finally with all of the Straw Hats on that deck. So that is a already pretty big accomplishment on Sabaody. Not to mention that their birds actually did something and even stopped some of the Marines. But that wasn't his doings. It was his allies. So, but yet his idea was to bring Luffy here, and he definitely succeeded. On a Fishman Island, he actually showed us quite a remarkable forces what he can do, and also the Rumble Ball that he can overcome his Devil Fruit. I think he have 100% control over his Devil Fruit. Even though he needs to have a Rumble Ball, he still was able to control it, the most ferocious being, the most ferocious form what he have, and even though only for 3 minutes, it was still possible. So yes, his techniques, his performance, he basically, what I can say here, the way how he developed the mastery over his Devil Fruit is pretty impressive. And if we have to see that for the accomplishment is slightly less than Usopp in the indirect accomplishments, but on off screen he actually accomplished much more than Usopp in my opinion. So I will actually put him obviously as great character, but better than Usopp, obviously less than Nami, because mentally Nami did a great, tougher stuff. Tougher decisions to make. Haha, Shaki! Shaki wasn't shown too much apart of more of the pre-Sabaody, and yeah, this is what it is, basically. I mean, I don't know much of what to say about her, because post Sabaody, she doesn't do much, obviously, on Fishman Island either, but she was kind of the one who connected them before post time skip with Riley, so that's it. But apart of that, she doesn't do much in there. I don't think so she even supposed to be in this comparison. I don't know why I actually put her, but simply because she doesn't do anything bad and nothing good, I will mention that she is a good character, but again, she doesn't achieve more than the fake Luffy, surprisingly. And she shouldn't be here at all. Daruma, one of the Fishman officers. And mostly what I know about this character is that he can dig and his name. Apart of that, he doesn't accomplish anything. He accomplished less than zero. And the only what he was doing is playing big, and he lost to Usopp's shooting. That is embarrassing. Almost as annoying. I'm gonna put Daruma as annoying, because whenever he was on screen, I was thinking to even skip the anime. Yeah. He wasn't trash, however, it was slowly annoying. Next is Caribou, and this is a character who's showing quite a amount after time skip. He was on joining the fake Straw Hats. No, he was dumb enough to not realize that he actually following the fake Straw Hats, right? So yes, he take repercussions. Yes, he probably killed Sanji on screen, off screen, and probably the others as well if they didn't run away. And later on, he attacked Luffy, realizing in what big shit he is. You know, till that moment, he was actually interesting character, but since he actually in underwater met Luffy, tried to abort us, tried to attack them, since then he started to be quite of an annoyance to me. Yes, later on in the story, he was actually the one who frame Luffy and others for kidnaps. This is a very crucial thing. This is already more than most of the Fishmans actually from Hardy's crew accomplished. Also, he learned about the ancient weapon. He was listening on the side. So yeah, he was kicked his butt by Big Mom. When I was actually cheating him because when he fought this Peckham's guy in the Fishman Islands, I really wanted Caribou to get back that treasure. To get back from him again later on if Nami will have an opportunity or she will know that the treasure was taken from them. Anything like that. I was really cheating. I was really wanted to for the rookie to make a statement, and damn how wrong I was. He was literally clapped. Therefore, I'm just putting him as mid character. However, he accomplished more than Hyozube, definitely. He actually accomplished more than him. Sanji, the biggest one. So obviously on Sabaody he doesn't do much. He just defending, was actually even a slightly annoying, jealous of Luffy where he has been for over last 2 years. And that's it. In the Fishman Island, and going on the way to Fishman Island, it gets worse and worse. Sanji is a cool character, don't make me wrong, but his fight wasn't even 1v1. He got Jinbe as a co-fighter to fight against Wadatsumi. Why? Why Jinbe couldn't get something else on his own? Nami didn't fight anybody, so yeah, for example, Usopp doesn't have to fight, or somebody, you know? He got a Jinbe, so his fight was interrupted. His whole recovery, whole nosebleed was annoying as hell. At the beginning, yes, it was funny. Yes, I was laughable. Oh yes, also Sanji, welcome on the stream by the way. Yes, Sanji did destroy the pacifista. This is a cool thing actually. That's true, that is for his benefit. Yes, that is. So apart of that annoyance, he also got some good parts. For the showing a new techniques, we doesn't see much, I believe. We saw the skywalk, the blue walk underwater, skylock in the air. Yes, that was a cool thing. I think that is the biggest accomplishment what Sanji actually showed, at least to me, so far inside that. So overall, he was annoying, yes, so this is definitely weakening him, but is he, what tier I should put him? I think Caribou was still more annoying, I think, than Sanji. And I think overall, because he had a good stuff, I cannot put him on one. I was thinking actually before the stream to put him as annoying, but yeah, there's you guys definitely pointing up that he actually got a good thing, so it's gonna be a tough one, because he have lots of baids, like negating the good stuff and the bad stuff actually negating himself. I think I'm gonna put him that simply because of that in a strong, good positions. Or maybe the weaker of great about Bahalusa, simply because of the annoyance. If we can take out the gag of the nosebleed, I think he could probably surpass Chopper at the very most, simply because learning of the CP9 techniques, but the annoyance obviously taking stuff. He's not gonna be better in any of the Straw Hats simply because of the nosebleed jokes. He was actually underdeveloped, I can say that much, on the Fishman Island. Tough character, really tough. Papagu! Now I have Papagu, so yeah, post time skip, Papagu was actually on the Fishman Island straight away. He wasn't on the Sabaody. He was giving them the discount 100% to Nami that take whatever you want from the shop. Obviously, show has to everything, was pretty good joke there. I love that. The way how Papagu actually treat a Ryugu kingdom as a basically holy cathedral, they never been there. Don't forget, Papagu is a remarkable character inside the Fishman Island. He is a renowned, all of the Fishmans know about him. His mark is remarkable, so he already accomplished more than fake Luffy, without a doubt. He is famous, right? Where fake Luffy was using Luffy name to be famous. However, when we got to his interactions with Straw Hats, it was go into more annoying side. But on his plus, we could say that, yes, he bring the swords to Zoro. So, if not him, those trio will have a really hard time getting out of that bloody cage, which Hody put them into. Wow! I must put him as great. Now, the question is he better than Sanji? I don't think so I can put him better than Sanji, because he also had a annoyed character. But he clearly get a lot from that. Next, that will be Shirahoshi. Oh boy, what a character here now. Shirahoshi, yeah, the crybaby, how Luffy is calling them. At the beginning was kind of understandable, especially when I've learned in what kind of age she is. And don't make me wrong, if you are under 10, because that was basically the time when she was put into that jail, you know, put in jail, young, under 10 years old, into basically a room which she cannot get out for like 10 years, that is a sentence for almost one of the biggest crimes. So if a mental state of that character obviously gonna be affected. So Luffy pretty call it a crybaby, because she was basically abandoned. Yes, she was visited by others. Yes, but they bringing food. You know, Luffy, take her for the walk. Is that means in the whole Fishman Island, right? Imagine you are a Neptune here, right? Is there anybody on Fishman Island who can take care of her safety and let her out from the jail, from her room? It's definitely at least Jinbe there. We could argue that Fukaboshi could actually defend flying axes as well. That might be debatable, but it is possible. Also, well, it don't have to be a one person. All of the princes, maybe even Neptune, could take her for a walk. But they didn't do it. She was 10 years locked up. So obviously, she will be stressed. She will be terrified. So, and then, not even mentioning that she saw in a very young age the death of Otohime, right? Her mother. And the promise, what she actually made to her. She knew Hody was the culprit. She didn't reveal it. Yes, she was annoying throughout the arc. But the redemption was sound and clear there. And not even mentioning that she is the Poseidon itself. She can control seconds, and we could easily say, if there would be any time skip for the future reference, for example, at least couple of months, I am dead certain she will develop that technique for calling Sinkies to the point that she can do it on whenever she wanted to. She will definitely train that. And I think Neptune will be certain to that, because if she is some kind of descendant of that ex-princess when she met Joy Boy to control the Sea King, obviously for Neptune mind, it is crucial to develop and understand her new acquired powers, to develop it, to make a normal use. Because you don't want to happen, for example, that she will be scared again, she will be crying as hell because of some dude, some fishman, some criminal, and then Sea Kings come in case to save Shirahoshi, because she's no longer need to be in that room, right? The Deccan is captured, and then by the process, Sea Kings will actually destroy the Fishman Island, because they are so big, and so you don't want that to happen, and that can occur. So it is crucial for her to understand and develop her techniques, her new acquired powers. So she definitely will be that. So I'm assuming she will be crucial and maybe not key, but she will be crucial for the future references if any Joy Boy apologies and Joy Boy revolt, which I mentioned in the other episode, she might be a crucial person there. So, but going back to Fishman Island and Sabaody, I think the what was presented to her, that Megalo told her the truth, she did a brilliant job. And I think her mental problems, not mental problems, her mental state, and yet she overcome that, and yet she make a crucial decisions. Yes, she actually could tell loads of people. Instead of hiding it, she could actually let Neptune know what was the problem to hide that. That was actually her mistake, because I do believe it would be better if she would tell more people than just keep it for herself. However, this still brings her, I think, on the very good character, but I want it like that. Yeah, I want it to be before Brook. With Koala, this debate, I don't know how old was Koala, but Koala had I think being locked in a chamber and being slaved, I think experience of being slave, especially for Celestial Dragon, is way crucial, much harder to understand, to overcome. Obviously, in both scenarios, the mental state is gonna be broken, but I think for Koala's sake, Koala trauma got bigger trauma than Shirahoshi in this such a case. So despite the annoyance, hello Salman. So despite all of that, I think Shirahoshi deserved to be on the top for her actions. Right, so just to remind, if anybody in the chat is curious, I'm talking what kind of importance of the characters. I have like 42 characters of the Fishman Island and post Sabaody arc, and how they impact the story, and how they impact how I like them as the characters. That's what I'm doing here. I'm just scaling them. No power levels, just pure what they did and what they accomplished. Next, I have very tough and challenger. It's Otohime, the queen herself. She had a goal, yes. And she also drank too much. She drank because she drank a lot, and she revealed what she's thinking, which she shouldn't be doing because she's a princess. Yes, it works well. However, the way how she dealt with that, is, if you are the royalty and having that kind of way of speaking with the other within your country, that's bad, right? So she have a good goal, but she acquired a lot thanks to that. She got the observation haki as well on a pretty high level, like Isa from Skypia. That is important. What else I can speak about her? And she went with that 10 rupito to the summit to create that picture, that note for the King's Summit. So that also important. So she went to the government to obtain that. Which I was really during the reaction on that they should kill her and pretend that never any World Nobel appeared to that Fishman Island. So there are decisions. She made that decision. She gained extra from that decision. So I cannot negate that. But you also need to show a good image among your own folks, because there are fishmen and they seen it. Yes, if they probably kill her, there will be increasing the hatred, so that's also not good. So definitely killing is out of the picture. However, that decision was she made, and most of her decisions were brilliant. Actually, I mean, paid off. If it's paid off, it's brilliant decision, right? It doesn't matter if it's actually off balance. It's paid off. So yes, and she was brutally killed as well, which is sad. Which is sad. And yet, even on the verge of death, she said to Shirahoshi, do not blame the villain, whoever that is, which is very crucial, which is shows that to the very end, she tried to destroy the hatred within mostly Fishmans. So her goal, her action is pretty well, and we have to put, I have to put her as the greatest impact. That I love that impact. Now the question is how big impact? Definitely above Brook. The fame is nothing compared to what Otohime actually went through. Question is she had it tougher than Shirahoshi? I don't think so. I think I put Otohime before Shirahoshi simply because of the age, right? Otohime was I don't know how to say it. It was an adult. She could process. She could think more in a more broad way. I don't know. Educated, probably yes as well. So yeah, and she had that observation haki. So I don't know if observation haki can actually feel what others feels. It is hard. I do not have the mastery what observation haki is into crucial detail. Can the observation haki actually read others' emotions or not? That probably is debatable. So I'm gonna put her at the very top. She definitely deserves that spot. Robin post time skip let other fake Robin to be captured, which is a kind of a sin actually for me. Yet she don't care about them. She's a pirate. It doesn't really matter. The world government should realize they don't capture Robin anyway. So that's one. She can make a double, which is crucial. Her mastery over devil fruits. Not even mention that she can reproduce their parts of body in a gigantic form. It is amazing. And obviously her pursuit towards poneglyphs, her reveal that I think that was even known by Skypia. I'm not so sure that the poneglyphs in Skypia mention Poseidon location in a Fishman Island. And all of this conversation with King Neptune about ancient weapons was pretty crucial to the story as well. Much more than other Straw Hats. So I think we know where I'm going with that now. The question is, I think still put her below Nami because mental state and then, information gathering of mental state is harder to maintain. This guy, and funny thing is, this guy from Wederia who helped Nami, I do not know his name. I think he is similar to Herakleson or something like that, the guy who helped Usopp, but he's not exactly that name, so I'm not sure about his name. Anyway, he is giving me a good vibes. He is giving me a cool vibes. He is a helpful character for sure. Heracles? I'm not sure. I'm not gonna guess anymore. He is a super helpful. He is brilliant. He have brilliant brain. He is a scientist even. He knows the weathers not only in the seas but also in New World. So Nami learned a lot through that. So his influence for Nami was quite crucial. And obviously he helped Nami to go to Sabaody. So that is a pretty cool accomplishment. And with a full respect to his research, I'm gonna put him above Sanji. Above Sanji because he did a lot and he is a scientist. This is not what you can accomplish within a small period of time. And he used that knowledge exactly there in the off-screen mostly to teach Nami, which is massive, which is great. So his impact is also very cool. Very good. High. Fukaboshi. Oh boy, Fukaboshi. The only prince which I have here, the other two princes, I found it really, really irrelevant, and they were basically made just to help Shirahoshi cool down And that's about it. They were a little bit of the warriors, but their significance dropped down a lot. I think if I will have to judge the other princes, they will be probably in the mid, maybe like Hyozo or something like that. But I'm not gonna do it because yeah, brutally speaking, this is waste of time. And I'm gonna focus more on Fukaboshi. Fukaboshi got much more screen time. He had that conversation with Hody. This is cool. This is crucial. Also, he makes some kind of fight. At the beginning, he was even convinced he can take Hody on. I think he thought in his mind that Hody is driven by hatred himself, and that's it. So, also the way with the Noah approach that Neptune said that we cannot destroy the Noah because it's a relic. It's very important for the future. For the unknown future, because you don't know when exactly. However, Fukaboshi stated, and that sentence stick in my head, bring Fishman Island to zero. That they want to rebuild everything from scratch, from the just start a new beginning. He wants this hatred to be gone so much that he will not even resist. He will not even waver to give up on the whole island safety, or the whole island basically as a country, not people, just buildings and all of that. He willing to destroy that just to get the hatred out of it. So he know the stakes, and he was willing to risk a lot just for them, I'd say, mid result. So he was risking much more than he could gain. Yet it ends up well for him, so that's a good thing. And yeah, his impact to the story was pretty big. He wasn't an annoying character, he was very reasonable, he was cautious. When Straw Hats approached Fishman Island, they were there to greet him, to invite him probably to the castle, to speak with him, because they are kind of renowned characters. You know, they're not doing for the character somebody like Caribou the same things, and they went there in person, meaning they know they are a noble, they still, you know, going and do the duty, which I really respect. So overall, I'm giving people too high actually. Fukaboshi, yeah, he actually gained a lot. He bet a lot. He gained. Definitely more than fake Luffy, definitely more than Papagu. Yeah, better than Sanji here. And what about this guy from what area? I think, honestly, I'm gonna put him even up for Robin, because he risked it a lot. He risked it a lot, and yeah, he was respectful character. Towards all of the Fishman Island had hate. He doesn't have hate at all. He was calculating calmly. That's what I'm thinking. Yet that's not close to Nami. Nami's actually was pretty tough Fishman Island, but yeah, considering what Arlong did to her, yeah, it's pretty reasonable. Boa Hancock appeared only on Sabaody to piss off Sanji, for example, and to show that the other characters, like I think Robin, recognizes her as a warlord, to show to the other Shohas that Luffy actually have another connection to, have another connection to the different warlord. And yeah, she helped him a lot. She helped Luffy a lot. She was taking care during the whole time skip as well. So she did a lot, however, she doesn't accomplish a lot, in my humble opinion. Yes, her own goal was to gain Luffy's trust, probably marriage, but that's probably her dream and goal. And she only befriended Luffy. And not even to the point, because if I will have to judge, I think Luffy is even closer to that blondie Margaret from the from the Kuja Island than even Boa himself. He had more interaction with the other girl, to be honest. So yeah, now Boa, despite what she did in Marineford, I'm not judging that. This is not the case here and now. And yeah, in Sabaody she doesn't accomplish, but she is more of a side character in Sabaody than I even imagined. Yes, she's gonna be bigger than Shaki, because Shaki shouldn't be here. However, obviously more than Caribou in my opinion, because Caribou was kind of annoying, but she doesn't accomplish more than fake Luffy. Neptune. I'm having loads of complaints to Neptune, actually, because him as a king, I do believe he should get much more, and he should accomplish, and he should do much more than we were shown. Could be because of the trauma after Otohime's loss. And then he's simply not thinking straight. Maybe because Otohime was the brain of operation and brain of the function in the whole Fishman Island, and Neptune was only a warrior. Maybe he doesn't have the background how to rule a country, I'm thinking. Because he did several mistakes during, and it's hard to me to recollect some, but yeah, with Shirahoshi stuff, that was his decision, I think, to put her, to lock her up, and he doesn't even move a finger to help Shirahoshi get out to the bloody grave of Otohime for 10 bloody years. They definitely had some big army of fishmen, and he couldn't even, if you cannot let Shirahoshi out from that chamber, at least capture Vanderdecken. Hey, you have fishmen, you have fishmen army, you can send and design Yes, he is 70 years old, but he can design a patrol, he can design a special forces. You are the king, you have the royal army on your side. To capture Vanderdecken, he also have a connection to Jinbe. Maybe he could even ask Jinbe for a favor for search Vanderdecken. You know, Shirahoshi was a life-threatening situation, and Neptune doesn't do. I'm not saying he's supposed to go and chase her himself. I'm just saying that I'm not so happy of his decisions. Also, we having this Madame Charlie prediction, right? We have that Luffy gonna destroy the island. He immediately believe, okay, she predict Whitebird, all of that, bravo. But you cannot judge a person based on prediction. And first of all, you're taking it for the banquet, and then he was confused. There was a moment when the soldiers was actually trying to capture Straw Hats up front before he even make a decision to judge are they even gonna capture them or not. He was already putting them almost in a jail, and then he will just think about it. This is not the way, the hierarchy, how this is supposed to go, in my opinion. And I think there was more issues, but I just cannot recollect all of them now. Yes, he is 70 years old. Maybe he's supposed to pass the ruling to his princess. Maybe that is the case. Maybe he was more in a shadow now and Fukaboshi was in charge. I cannot see, there was not a clear statement who actually is the rule, and Neptune is actually having a crown still. Not Fukaboshi, was Neptune to having a crown. So I'm having several complaints towards Neptune here. And this is why, how I'm gonna treat him. He actually has an impact for the whole story. However, I'm thinking more negative than positive. But less negative than all of that. So I'm gonna put him as bait. Better than Caribou, but lower than Boa. Boa doesn't do anything bad, she just doesn't accomplish anything. And in my opinion, Neptune could do much more, and he could accomplish. I think he doesn't even have a goal. He had a hatred within himself. And look, Fukaboshi is calm. Neptune has to lock himself for a couple of days after Otohime's death because of his rage. Where Fukaboshi and others were kind of younger, were kind of calm. I mean, okay, they were overly sad. Of course, they were in tears. They were in trauma. But they weren't anger. And even Shirahoshi weren't, keeping that. So I'm thinking Neptune, as a character, and maybe it's because he's getting elderly and maybe he's I don't know. It's just feels really, really off for this character, to be honest. Sentomaru was only post-time skip. He did accomplish something there from the previous because he became a marine official now. I do not recognize his title. Is he a captain? Vice Admiral? I think he should be on the rank of Vice Admiral because he is he knows Haki, and I think this is kind of requirement to become a Vice Admiral. However, I am not knowing that. It's still accomplishment because he become Marine official. Maybe he's on a different branch of maybe science because of this pacifistas when he was attacking Whitebird from the back. So yeah, they definitely has improved there, and that's about it. He actually, of course, is have a high IQ because he realized that the Maro Black is a fake Luffy. But probably because he saw Luffy prior, so this is not a good indicator there. And then he realizes, but then again into his training, that he knows Haki, that Luffy uses Haki to beat Pacifista up. So he simply uses his experience there. So I'm thinking him as a character who accomplished something, but it wasn't as impactful in the end of the day. So he must be above characters who doesn't accomplish anything, which be above Boa, for sure. And is he above the Malo Black? The Malo Black accomplished way more, I think, than Sentomaru in this simple case, because the Malo Black has his own crew. If not for Sentomaru, his crew would be still going up till that time when Caribou decided to kill Straw Hat Luffy, because that was his intention. Yeah. And Dosun, the most controversial, I think, what I'm gonna say, I actually like Dosun by a lot. I don't know why. He's showing me as a brute when nothing actually matters, that he is a big guy with big muscles, big hammer, showing off left of right who is the strongest guy in the area. He challenged Fukaboshi. He wasn't afraid of him even though he was beaten. And yeah, that was kind of actually impressive, because he doesn't even use this energy steroids, which is impressive in my opinion. Sentomaru is also Vegapunk's bodyguard. I don't know about that much actually. If that was mentioned, maybe that is his official. I don't know much about that actually either. Vegapunk, yeah. I don't know. Tough for me to say something about it. Going back to Dawson, yeah, he actually impressed me even more than Hardy. Hardy was just talking. He wasn't playing like a big bully, to show his strength. Where Dawson actually was exactly like that uneducated bully whose brain is only muscles. And he acted accordingly. That he actually, gave me some appreciation. And he doesn't show much apart of that. He was beaten. In most of his fights he was beaten. But he gave me actually the vibes that I respect him to the point that I'm putting him above Fake. Luffy. Obviously, not in a great character, but he is definitely much more developed character, in my opinion, than Hyozo or any other officers from Hodi's crew. That's my opinion, because he had some kind of a background, where Hyozo is just a drinkster and likes to slash and nothing else. He doesn't give any cool line. Zio was just talking, and Daruma was just annoying. Franky. Cyborg Franky, he changed it so much. Oh yes, he rebelled himself. He have these small hands inside his gigantic hands. He made a General Franky, which from Vapor Metal, which is brand new source to use. So he put this into use, which is a great accomplishment. Create General Franky out aside of his body, which is a great accomplishment. Put, I don't know if it's Kizaru laser like Pacifista or different type of laser with Vegapunk creation in his lab back in that, I don't know, Banaro Island. Not Banaro. I don't know which island was that. So actually Franky accomplished huge things, in my opinion. Huge. Way more than average Straw Hats. And he is probably close to the level of Pacifista. Yes, Pacifista can do more. They can do multiple lasers at the same time than Franky can do only one, which is still behind the Pacifista. But this is not about the power level scaling. And the whole coating, the whole ascending to the new world, he learned all of that. He acknowledges. And yeah, he was actually side character who actually makes Straw Hats rollings, makes Straw Hats to go deeper, carry through the whole way to Fishman Island and then go back with his knowledge. So he created a lot. Yet now I'm thinking where to put him. He's definitely above Robin. I'm thinking, is that accomplished bigger than Nami? Personally, I think yes. I think I'm gonna put to Love. I think I'm gonna put it. Brook still gain more. I think his accomplishment, his rebelled body, General Franky, and all of that, applying all of the Vegapunk's writings, schema, he needs to understand what Vegapunk is saying on top. Of course, this probably goes with experience, what he gained from Tom, but again, to build such a creation, to give them the tank as well and the bike or whatever he called that, this is great stuff, and he carries Straw Hats throughout the arc on the backside. That's what I'm thinking. That's why I'm putting him. He is less than Brook because accomplishment of Brook is simply insane. Jinbe. Jinbe is Jinbe. Jinbe is the character who avoiding everything possible. That's what I've got the impression from Jinbe. He knew about Hody. He doesn't do a thing. He was waiting for Luffy. Why he doesn't deal with Hody up front, Luffy's arrival? That's one thing, yes? Second thing, he wasn't doing anything when Otohime was making a speech. When he wasn't even guarding her, he basically, we could say that on his duty, Otohime was killed. He was there. I don't know, maybe he doesn't have observation haki, but even Otohime doesn't realize that until the shoot, so maybe I cannot blame for that. However, he was there, and I think he was more playing of a role of a guardian, especially when I know he actually aligned himself with a Big Mom, and Big Mom is protecting the island, so he's supposed to be as the one protecting the island, and if he cannot help, then Probably, I don't know of the arrangement there. Maybe Big Mom will send other forces if that will be necessary. And Hody was definitely afraid. Yes, before Otohime, the Big Mom wasn't there. That was way before the timetable. But I'm thinking Jinbe didn't want to make an action. Moreover, he wants Luffy to not fight Hody. I don't know what was his idea. That Luffy came in, they met on a Fishman Island, have a chat, have a nice time, they go out and Hody will be unsolved. Probably that was what Jinbe has in mind. So this is the negatives for Jinbe. For a positive, yes, he taken action. Yes, he was fighting, showing off at front of a Hody. He make a plan how to make Luffy a hero. Yes, that plan succeeded, definitely. That plan succeeded. Yes, he aligned himself with a Big Mom to protect the island from the invaders. This is also an accomplishment because, you need to do a lot of things probably for one of the Yonko to accept you on your own crew. I mean, yes, he was also a warlord, helps him a lot, but yeah, again, to get that warlord position, that also are his accomplishments. That is clear. He also gave the blood to Luffy, which is a major thing because Luffy otherwise might be in terrible shape. He probably would survive to the plot twist to get to the surface and treat it there in a new world if possible. Probably that would also be an option if nobody will get the blood for Luffy. Not sure, but I can understand that much that could go. So he have negatives, but he also have positives. And technically he also saying he will be accepting Luffy's invitation, which can break also the power scaling throughout the Straw Hat crew. And I don't know about how the other Straw Hats will, what they will say about it. And we could easily say that Jinbe at this point in time is above Sanji, above Zoro, possibly above Luffy, don't know there. So that can shift stuff, but not yet. He needs to deal with Big Mom first. So overall, it is very hard character to justify. It's exactly like Sanji, and I think accomplishments of Jinbe are bigger than Sanji's. It's gonna be bigger front Sanji. I think even I'm gonna put it above Chopper. But not as Robin. I think Robin gained more through that ancient weapon whole of the story revealing. That's my opinion. If he would be less, stubborn and he will make some actions, because he could easily deal with Hody before Luffy's coming up, right? He could easily do that. Next is Hatchi. Hatchi, I never expected him actually to like him, but at Sabaody I like him by a lot. And obviously, post-time skip, he is already on the Fishman Island. All what he is doing is getting beaten by Hody. He is basically the only source who's showing to us what kind of characters is Decken and Hody. He is the very first example when we see that Hody and Decken are broken and how they actually treat Hatchi. Not even mention about the humans there, because we could technically understand the hatred towards humans, but we cannot understand hatred towards Hatchi. And this is pure indicator that is something went wrong along the line to that crew. So we could say this is clearly an accomplishment for that, right? So he has one accomplishment, not much left because he was beaten, he was recovering all the time. So Boa doesn't have accomplishments, so it's up front of there. It's definitely less of accomplishments for than Sentomaru. He just simply showing us, and we still need to process it properly to understand it. When Sentomaru is loud and clear, he become a marine. So his relevance is at good, but not as high. Damn, those characters are so high. Should I take some worse characters? Oh wow. Luffy! Okay, Monkey D. Luffy. How much he accomplished and how much he messed up in post Sabaody and Fishman Island. At Sabaody, he doesn't do much. He got involved, as always. No, then without repercussions, he just beat down whatever he needs to beat down. Show us new skills, by the way, which was hype. That was definitely hype at Sabaody. So that's on plus. At Fishman Island, Fishman Island, one of his accomplishments is how he learned from Vivi. He bowed to Fishman to give blood to Sanji. Massive accomplishment, massive character development, and yet this is a big thing. Taking down Fishman is that was a normal thing. And when we go to Hody, I need to say that Luffy connections to Shirahoshi, Fukaboshi, lesson to Neptune it might be pretty crucial there, because like in Alabasta, Luffy has connections to Vivi. So in here, Luffy has connections to Fukaboshi. He is a prince, right? So his accomplishments are clearly the connections. Because he is a captain, he will be justified by his captain role. And in Fishman Island, getting acquaintance, getting connected to not only Fukaboshi the prince, but also Shirahoshi, making promise that they're gonna meet again. He's gonna take her to the surface, to the forest world, ever on the walk, is massive accomplishment. It is like a friend of a big country, not even to mention that he wants to, he's not that's not confirmed yet, protect the whole Fishman under and as his territory. That is not confirmed, that needs to be dealt with a Big Mom, I understand, so this is not there yet. He's just proclaimed it. So Luffy accomplishment is, yes, he had one failure though. He get bite. His observation haki wasn't clear enough, or even his armament haki, and he got bite by Hody. He lost tremendous amount of blood, probably in the process on destroying Noah. But if he wouldn't be bitten there, I think Noah would be almost entirely destroyed than now. So he had a fail there, especially when Hody is a monster, but not as strong as Luffy. We have to make it clear, right? Still, his accomplishments are much bigger than what he lost, and in the end of the day, the island is safe. So that was still accomplishment to prevent this from Noah, because thanks to his actions, Shirahoshi was able to unlock his ability and kind of control it. So that also a kind of Luffy accomplishment. Luffy and Shirahoshi all together. So Luffy definitely accomplished a lot. Obviously, on Sabaody reunite entire crew. That, okay, everybody came here, but, Brook was a Soul King, he doesn't need to come back, so the authority of Luffy for his crewmates was pretty crucial as well, that all of them wishes and wanted to come back, because that was for Luffy. Sanji definitely didn't come back to the crew because of Zoro or Usopp, maybe because of Nami as well. But definitely the key thing is Luffy. Yeah, they were thinking going back to Luffy, especially what happened in before post time skips on the papers when they read that. All of them were thinking Luffy, nobody else from the crew. So he was the one who connected them and to bring entire crew back together. That's a pretty big accomplishment as well. So yeah, I think everybody accepted that he would be on the very top. However, definitely more than Brook. Are we gonna put him? No, I'm not gonna put him above Otohime and Shirahoshi. They went through much more. Luffy was having this at ease still, accomplishing a lot, but not as much as those three girls. Otohime is a girl. I think I can call her a girl as well. Yeah. Next is the hero, Fisher Tiger. Well, post-time skip, he definitely wasn't there, but it was in Fishman Island, the backstory, so we know all of his story from there. And damn his accomplishments, even though his hatred, he'll give away his life because he doesn't want human blood, which Jinbe already broke that rule. So he was a very stubborn, but he was aware of that, and the way how he treated Koala, especially when they descend into island. With that, he was keeping himself on the side. When Koala was proceeding to meet her relatives' family, I don't know who was there exactly, and he was keeping on the side. All of the village knew he is a criminal, he is a pirate, also he is a fishman, so he didn't want to escalate a problem while giving back Koala, so he stepped on the side. Pretty brilliantly executed, for sure. Not even mention about his old goal to chase his hatred goal to connect all of the crew, because all of the crew was clearly about to Fisher Tiger when Fisher Tiger passed away. Arlong, Marco, the crew broke basically. So he was the one who connected everything. So he was the force, right? So he accomplished a lot. He didn't lose anything. The only fail what he have is his death, but that was on his own rational decision, so it's not his fail for that. So he have only accomplishments, and I think he went through more than Nami, to be honest, because Nami kind of was as a slave, but being a slave under Arlong, under the circumstances that you need to draw, you getting a little slightly hurt. You have those bruises definitely, but imagine what she could felt under Tenryubito, right? Under the celestial dragons. I think the wound might be much bigger than that, and not even mention it that Nami got only a tattoo where Fisher Tiger got burned mark when he or being a slave there. So well, yeah, he definitely has to have birthmark because he was a slave, definitely. So I think I will put him above here, even above. He went through them a lot. Above Shirahoshi? Yeah. I think I put him above Shirahoshi. Is he went above Koala? No, because he was adult, Koala was a child. Koala went through much more than that. So for the importance for the story, he's definitely very, very top. And I'm not surprised he's called the hero here. Next is Madame Charlie. Madame Charlie made this big mess, basically, by her predictions, which she could easily fix. She could make another, divination, another crystal ball check, whatever, to see what exactly Luffy did, if she is capable of that, if she has some kind of control over it. She could verify evidence based off her divination. I'm not telling that we're supposed to believe in that, but she could verify. And what she did instead, she broke the crystal ball. She said she's never gonna perform that again because she has faith in Luffy. That is so bad. I didn't like that moment to the slightest, because her only ability, her only reason to be relevant, to be understood, and put her, as a noble even within a Fishman Island, because she's had somewhat of a reputation, noble reputation. She gave away everything. Yes, it is in the case of a trust to Luffy, let's say that. yes, but still, she could also help Luffy by simply clarifying that bloody situation, because we went to the new world and that divination didn't show up in the slightest, meaning is going to happen because of her trustworthy, 100% correct, or simply she was wrong. So, and now she not even have an opportunity to verify, fix anything. So I really not happy about that. And I'm not even saying that she's a Harlong sisters. It's completely irrelevant for me here. Simply because destroying that crystal ball was so crucial that we cannot knew what's gonna happen in the future. Yes, it could be spoiling, but from one perspective, still, I'm not treating that as an accomplishment. How bad she's gonna be in the mid tier because of that. I think I'm gonna put her just above the Fishman officers and below Caribou. It is just that. I just don't like that character. Zoro. Zoro, obviously, as Sanji, as you guys mentioned it, destroyed the Pacifista on the Sabaody. Clearly, all together, that wasn't a one shot, that was all together combined with Sanji. Good teamwork after 2 years gap. Accomplishment, same as Sanji, right? And the Fishman Island. Okay, he fought Hody, yes. He fought Hody underwater. Another accomplishment showing the Hody his place without air. I think it might be tougher fight than even Luffy fight underwater against Hody in that ball, because having air and time to think is better than your mobility. And Zoro being that strong that his mobility isn't even a problem. For Luffy is, actually. So this is accomplishment, and then I'm not gonna accomplish Hyozo here, I was just showing off. Again, in case of his new techniques, not much, it just upgraded old techniques. We didn't see much of a Haki, we just know he have observation Haki exactly as Sanji. Because they could verify that Caribou was somewhere in the palace. And obviously he was the one who freed when he got the sword from the cage when Hody put it. And that's about it. So in case of his time skip training, yes, he lost an eye. That is also a failure. We could call it a failure. He lost an eye. And if you have to compare it to other shokas, because this is definitely going into the grade section, and technically to Sanji, I think Sanji had to be honest, I think Sanji had the hardest. Zoro is less annoying, but not doing anything is as much bad. So I'm thinking Zoro actually in this very arc, I'm putting him lower than Sanji. Simply because, yes, he fight Hody, but apart of that, I'm not getting much of it. When Sanji, for example, get his Geppo CP9 techniques, Zoro just improved his old techniques. I will understand if he will actually show us maybe a little bit of Haki there, because by that wasn't shown there yet, so this is definitely not his arc. Hody. Hody. So, his actions towards humans I've definitely noticed. Kind of, from Hody's perspective, accomplishments, he gathered 100,000 strong and 70,000 strong and 30,000 slaves. Kind of accomplishment, yes. Annoying as hell, if I don't want to make it worse. And yapping a lot. Holy shit, how much you want to yap? Just show us something. Even in his fight against Zoro, he was talkative a lot. He was showing his superiority as Fishman. Even Arlong didn't have that much screen time of talking, you know? And obviously the drugs, that he was the one who steal those drugs. kind of accomplishments, but then fell into those drugs, into the addiction. It is tremendous, tremendous low. Yeah, failure. Also, at the very end, he is shown as an old fart, so he is another failure. He is more of a failure than, yes, he periodically for a moment become a king of a Fishman Island, but officially I don't think so actually, because to become a king you will have to sentence to death Neptune. He failed there as well. In case of his capability and strength, he wasn't as impressive. Maybe he chose wrong opponent to fight. I mean, he chose Fukaboshi to fight. He was winning there with the princess, yes. So, for storytelling, you know, if Jinbe would make an action, there would be no Hody for any storytelling when Luffy arrives. So he was lucky there. And yeah, I think we can call Hody actually as lucky that he survived that long. Yes, he will have a more important than his fellow captains. I do think he achieved more than them, because they, except for Dawson, I don't think so. He's more interesting than Dawson, even though Dawson was only sporadically shown. I think I've enjoyed when I see Dawson fight Fukaboshi, even briefly, than Hody actually fight. So, yeah, if I have to compare it, I'm just looking at it. He get the Paras, or he conquered the Ryugu Paras. That is a good thing for Hody, that accomplishment. I think it's already making a bigger accomplishment than Sentomaru just become a navy, just to conquer the Ryugu Palace. So I'm just trying to compare him to fake Luffy. And I think which actually group is stronger? Fake Luffy temporary crew, or this 100,000 strong what Hody got? And I think, personally, I think that this Liptoti, Albion, along with Caribou and Caribou, are stronger than this 100,000 strong. Let me know what do you think if you're listening. But I think fake Luffy accomplished more than Hody, so I'm gonna put him just before fake Luffy. Dawson have bigger accomplishment. Yeah, I like Dawson much more than Hody actually. Yeah, it would be good actually to make a poll. Which army would be stronger? Fake Luffy's or Hody's? That would be a good topic actually. Next is Caribou, the vice captain of... I don't know even how their crew is called. Caribou Pirates, I'm gonna call it that way. And yeah, Caribou assist, dig, and that's it. That's no accomplishment at all. And yeah, this character is simply bad. He didn't get any better than Caribou. Madame Charlie or Caribou, I think Madame Charlie was at least, make a divination. Hyozo, Zio. No, it's gonna be a last mid. He's not as annoying because he was briefly shown and he died because he to the sea pressure. So yeah, that's about it for this guy. This octopus guy in Hody's crew, exactly like every other. I think it's even worse than Zio. It's better than this chameleon, fishman, whatever. Not worse than that, because Chameleon has more screen time and shows something, when this guy just, his fear of fire is simply bad. No, I'm actually gonna put him as annoying. He's actually worse than Caribou. Better than Daruma. That's it. He tried to make Brook dry, and then he tried to make Franky, General Franky dry, which is dumb as hell. So yeah, he's gonna be an annoying character. Actually, I'm not gonna have any trash character probably. Wow. I was thinking maybe I'm gonna put Hody at the beginning. Herakleson is a great character, for sure. Herakleson teach Usopp what he could. His accomplishment is survivability on that archipelago when he was... Boeing Archipelago, I think. I'm not so sure now. So yeah, and he bring Usopp to Sabaody, or maybe he assist him. So that is an accomplishment to get from that island to another And that probably was a Grand Line Island, so maybe it wasn't that far. And that's about it. So he's definitely, I'm gonna put him as mid. I think I'm gonna put just below Hatchi. It was kind of irrelevant though. He just helped Usopp, that's about it. Yeah. Because for Usopp, it's more of Usopp accomplishment than Herakleson. Ivankov was training Sanji and break him up. One of the culprits who break up Sanji. Of course, the all previous, I'm not calculating Impel Down and Marineford, and I'm not taking that into consideration here, so just what he did to Sanji is not much of a deal, exactly as Herakleson, so, but simply because of his status, I'm gonna put him above Herakleson, but that's about it. But because of his revolution, that's it. Really the same, teach Luffy, show off on Sabaody for a brief moment, stop the the Marines, kind of accomplishment, but the same as Herakleson. At this point, he might, because of his position, I'm gonna put him above Ivankov, but not big deal here. If we want to calculate the whole time skip, then maybe you go. I think I calculated in other characters time skip as well, so I will calculate that as well. Because even for Ivankov, I said that he trained Sanji. So in that case, actually he teach Luffy all of that stuff, all of the haki. That means it's a pretty big accomplishment. So yeah, he's going up. He's going up simply because of that. And yeah, actually that's pretty high then, because of that simply teaching Luffy haki makes him a great character. Below Robin though, above Jinbe because of Jinbe has so many misses. Pacifista was just to be killed by Luffy, Zoro and Sanji. Nothing there, however it shows us the true improvement what Straw Hats did. So Pacifista is it was definitely a cool moment when Luffy one-shot Pacifista, so it gives us hype, right? So it one accomplishment there. So the hype is there, so I'm gonna put him just above Papagu, and that's about it. Pacifista as a character didn't improve that much, but it gives us hype, which is crucial at this point. Vanderdecken is annoying as hell, however, he was incapable to do anything. He injured heavily. What is his name? Hatchi, yes. And that's about, and put the whole Noah into the island, which was not. I was impressive at the first glance, but then Shirahoshi shows the her true scale. So he was the culprit for Shirahoshi to awaken, if we can call that way. That wasn't his principle, so that's definitely gonna be his failure. So he is a man of failures, and not even saying that he is what he is, that he loves underage, Yeah, he is a terrible character, and he's gonna be a trash character. Yes, I finally got a trash character! Yes! Or at least one trash character, yes, simply because of his mindset. Even Hordy as an empty character is actually better than the Vanderdecken. Wow. Leap Dottie. Yes, he showed off a little bit just to be one-shotted by Pacifista, which wasn't even a great moment. It was just showing the Pacifista's strength, which we already know. So it's basically a failure. It's a failure, but not annoying. So I'm gonna put him above Caribou, simply because it's a captain, I do believe. And Caribou is vice captain. Perona achieved much more, he make entire unit sad. So yeah, and obviously her outfit, her look, compared to what was in the Thriller Bark, huge improvement, huge. Even Sanji fell for it, even though I think she was in her ghost form at that time. Not to mention that she actually bring Zoro to Sabaody, yeah? Without Perona, Zoro would be lost unless Mihawk gonna escort him, but who would believe that Mihawk would actually escort him? So Perona is a very crucial character. He is one of the anchor to reunite the whole Straw Hats. She is definitely a more important character than Pacifista, for sure. But less than the Straw Hats, because that's what it is. Albion the same as Lip Dotty even ran away from when he realized the Pacifista are there, so he's even worse than Lip Dotty. Yeah, mid. Complete mid. And Kami, the last character for that is so... I think the stream is still going. Yeah. Yeah, let me check. Yeah. Okay. So Kami, the last character is that, and post Sabaody she weren't there. She was in a Fishman Island, rescued with fellow mermaids some of the Straw Hats. She served cold soup to warm up, which is important. Is that a fail? Not for Sanji. She showed the whole Fishman Island basically how it works. So she was giving us the detour. She was giving us the big what is up in the Fishman Island. She even ended up in Ryugu's palace, which is quite an accomplishment for a simple mermaid. So yeah, she is definitely important here, however less than Pacifista, more than Papagu. And that would be it for today's video, for today's, yeah, what I have here. So the only trash character we got, Vanderdecken, I think the most impactful character in whole Fishman Island and post Sabaody is actually Koala and Fisher Tiger. I think that would be the heroes from that. So those this flashback was the most actually impactful for me, in my opinion, for the whole saga, for the whole arc. Yeah. So for those on YouTube, let me know your comments in. Let me know what your comments, and see you in the comments there. Yeah. Whew. My throat is dry. Anybody to speak on the stream? Let me see. On the stream? I think only one person remain on the stream. However, my goal was to get 2 people on the stream. We got temporarily 2 other guys. Nicely done. For watching now, 4 people watching now, which is great. Wow, this is gonna be a record for my first stream here. I'm loving you guys. And do you have anything to add, or we supposed to wrap it up? Because my topics are basically done. Supposed to wrap it up, because my topics are basically done. Let me drink something. Okay then, thank you for watching on the stream. I think I will announce the next streams up front when I'm gonna do some One Piece, Bleach, or One Piece live action content, anything. And yeah, see you in the next ones then. Ciao. And yeah, see you in the next ones then. Ciao.